If you are looking for all things real estate and an in-depth look at market fluctuations and answers to all your buying and selling questions, look no further than real estate expert Lisa Hill. Lisa brings her vast 15-year knowledge directly to you every week, sharing her own struggles as she navigates you through the twists and turns of the real estate world. Lisa has been sober for 9 years and has been motivating people ever since. A speaker, mentor, and teacher, each week Lisa will welcome guests from all facets of the industry to ensure you are as informed as possible before making any real estate decisions. This is the Lisa Hill Show, real estate for the real world.
Hey everyone out there, this is Lisa Hill, host of the Lisa Hill Show, real estate for the real world. In the studio, having a great time. I got Jim Cooley in here today. Hey, Jim.
Hello.
And Carrie Nikolsky. Hi,
Hello.
Carrie. Hi.
Before we get started, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Because this shows the real estate for the real world, right?
Yes, it is.
Is there actually real estate for a fake world somewhere?
Yeah, there is actually.
Can you give me like what would that be?
Go online, Google anything. All of our pictures, like the real estate for the fake world is look at all of the real estate photos of everyone that are photoshopped
from 20 years ago,
and everyone that has flawless faces and white teeth and no red in their eyes.
Right.
That's the real estate for the fake world.
Okay, I got it. All right, makes sense now.
right?
Yeah, this is real estate for the real world. Is just, it's like Carrie was asking before the show. She's like, "Can I cuss on the show?" And if it comes out, it comes out because it's just banter. It's us talking in real conversation. On iTunes, I have a couple of the E's. I'm like, what's the E next to it?
Like
and
I said, you're like pink,
So
basically.
the real world is you can cuss,
Yes.
no Photoshop, and
Right.
activewear.
Correct.
Okay,
Pretty
just
much.
checking.
Oh God,
There you go.
Jim-
Yoga pants.
Jim
Right?
is giving me shit today because I showed up in gym clothes. Now, mind you, they're not activewear. Okay, here's the difference between activewear and gym clothes. Activewear is
It's a fine piece of talk.
activewear are clothes that you wear that you're not going to the gym. So you put on some yoga pants.
You're just being comfortable.
And it's comfortable.
And you're not necessarily going to work at like a real quote unquote, 9 to 5 job.
So you just throw on some.
Right. You're going to the grocery store or you're doing errands. But
so
the
I'm
gym
going to the
attire-
gym after this. After we record, I'm going to work out. I didn't work out this morning. I got up super early and dropped my boyfriend off at the airport and came back and went straight to work basically. So I didn't have time to go to the gym. So I'm working out, and this is how you create good habits, by setting a schedule and sticking to it.
And wearing activewear.
And wearing gym clothes. I'm going to send some flex pics just to prove.
Please don't do that. Imran Pilati does that all the time.
I'm impressed that you do it every day, right? I mean, do you do it like 6 days a week or is it 7 days?
I'm
or
like 5 days a week.
Well, that's still impressive to me.
2.
Oh my gosh.
Jim has not been to the gym. Jim doesn't go to the gym.
Listen, I was a world-class athlete for 10 years. I can be fat now.
Like 20 years ago. How long ago was it, Jim?
And you're not
None of your
fat.
business. You're prying.
Jim there's pictures of Jim, and I swear if he turned sideways, he would disappear. That's how skinny he was. Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not fat.
No. He is.
He takes pride in it.
Compared to maybe,
takes
then.
pride in it.
Yeah. Well,
He takes pride in
My ring announcer body.
the ring announcer body.
so are you on hiatus or are you just
From
on
ring
strike
announcing?
or
from working out?
Yes.
No, I'm lazy.
That's a very real answer for the real estate.
You want to know what it is
world.
truthfully? You know what it is truthfully? I'm busy. Like I just told Lisa my schedule for the next 6 days, and she knows that there's no way I could have fit the gym in there at all on any of the
Do some
days.
push-ups. We should have you do some push-ups. I'll show you like a just quick 15-minute workout.
Exactly. We'll
Yeah.
supervise. How about that?
You'll show me a workout.
Oh my God! Look at that. Oh, he did disappear when he turned sideways.
Yeah, Jim
I
has
just
the
saw a
the
picture.
photo up showing Carrie what he looked like. He was skinny as a rail.
I was an Adonis.
So
So you keep that picture for proof and you let people know, hey.
Because no, honestly, because people say, "Oh, you used to fight MMA," and I say, "Yeah." Well, what weight did you fight at? And I say 165, and they look at me like I'm full of it because you literally have to cut off
How tall
my
are you,
left
Jim?
leg, 6'2".
6'2", 165.
So they don't think you're being truthful. So that's why you have the picture
Correct.
to say, "Excuse me."
It's
this
kind of
was
like
real.
when Lisa Hill tells me that she's going to the gym after the show.
So she's
wearing
gonna
her
show you
wearing her
pictures of her at
gym
the gym.
clothes
They're freaking
that are
gym
clearly
clothes.
brand new and have never been. There's like a tag hanging off the yoga pants.
Oh my god.
Those are my yoga
These
pants.
yoga pants have been to yoga, by the way. Okay.
Did you just roll your neck at me?
No, I fluttered my eyelashes. I rolled my eyes, fluttered my lashes that are
She's
going to the gym also.
Always been just a true. Always. There hasn't been a time when you didn't always go to the
I
gym.
like working
You're
out.
always
It's my-
right.
it's
your
my-
release, right? It's therapy.
Yeah. I listen to my gangster rap.
I'm
And I
sure
work
you're
out,
like a maniac,
and
right? Are
I-
you?
Let's hear some of your playlist.
I
Your
give
gangster rap
people
playlist.
dirty looks.
Is there some young buck on there?
Why do you give people dirty looks? What do they do that
Because I
annoy you?
like fight them in my head. You know?
Oh.
It's like
So wow, you're really into it.
it's
So
like
you're
yeah. I mean
it's serious business.
I fight them in my head.
okay,
Do you win?
what do you want?
Not always, right, Lisa?
What do you want to hear? You want to hear some of this?
I want you to tell me some of your. Let's hear some of your playlists.
Okay, so
I'll tell you if it's gangster rap or not.
Oh, you want the gangster rap playlist?
Well, that's what you just said you played. Is that not what you just said,
I had
Carrie?
a different one up. Okay, let's see. Here's my
What were you-
playlist
what were-
right here. I had my different one up. Okay, so I have Too Short, Gangsters and Strippers, Tupac, Me and My Girlfriend, Mac Dre, Feeling Myself, Selly Cell, It's Going Down, and some more E40, RBL Posse,
Which RBL posse?
Don't Give Me No Bammer,
Bammer
Weed.
weed.
Richie Rich, Frontline, Tupac, E40.
All right, I respect you
Okay,
more
so
than I did a
okay,
minute
so
ago.
he- I think
Because when you
she
said
convinced
gangster rap,
you.
I was waiting for you to be like, I got some Drake,
Drew
some
Down,
Tyga.
Drew Down, Spice One.
All right.
What else? Ice Cube.
Wow, I think she made her point, right?
She did.
She did.
So
Ghetto. Because I drink my hyphy energy drink.
right. Okay.
So-
Yeah. See, you're a gangster too.
Former.
Okay. All right. So our topic today, getting back to the
Back to
real
business.
estate,
Getting
getting back
back
to
to
real
business,
estate.
right.
Now that we just BS'd for 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're talking about today about the mortgage meltdown and the real estate rebound because the market it's hot again. I mean, it's
Yes.
back. We are definitely back into normal times. It feels like we have been for some time
For
the
a few years.
for
There's
the
been a
past couple
momentum
years.
building, and it does seem what I like about the comeback is that we are better and stronger than
Absolutely.
we were when the market was hot 10 years ago.
Yes.
So
We're prepared.
we are, well, the loans are definitely a higher quality. We have a better product. So these loans have been we have been able to make sure they're not going to go bad. They're not the toxic loans.
Yes.
And they're not
They're not as
you
many
know,
spectator
we have,
buyers.
like, been so regulated, and we have to make sure that these buyers have the ability to pay these loans back. So the fact
Yeah,
that you see the prices increasing is a good sign.
Yeah, and because back when the mortgage meltdown, for those of the listeners out there who were, not that familiar with the mortgage meltdown, and maybe who were, it's 10 years ago, so who, maybe were in high school or younger when it happened, it was pretty crazy. In 2007 is when it melted down, but
Right.
in
Prior to that.
2000s, yeah,
Right. When did you get in, Lisa?
I got into the business 2002.
Because you were like 12.
Yeah, the end.
She was.
The end of.
She was a child, but she was so good. I was so
19.
impressed with her.
Sometimes she still looks like she's 12.
Well, that's not a bad thing. Now,
I
is
know.
it?
It's because I drink water instead of hyphy
And she works
hyphy
out.
energy drinks, like Jim Cooley over here. Yeah, no, I was 19 years old, kind of fresh out of high school. Did a little community college, and got right into real estate. So when I got into the
hit
industry,
you naturally.
Thank
It really
you.
did.
Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate that. It clicked. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was just something that just came natural.
Right.
It
And it's
felt
not
really good.
for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, it
Oh,
isn't
no.
natural for everybody, but you made it look easy.
Thank you.
And then also not having the experience that people that may have had 5-10 years on you, you could really kind of run circles around them, which is what I remember about you. And I would kind of secretly laugh to myself because I'd be like, okay, they have no idea what they're doing. And I don't know what they're doing in this business. So, because I had to talk to everybody as an account
rep.
executive.
Yeah.
And you can just tell. And I definitely gravitated towards you. And we clicked too.
Yeah, of
so.
course, because we worked on the same level, which was great. Yeah, and so in leading up to the mortgage meltdown, it was pretty crazy. We were doing loans. You can come in, run your credit if you had just a 620 FICO or above, so decent credit, and a job.
Right.
Well, sometimes not even a job.
Right. Not if you had
if you had a
enough
700
assets,
FICO
right.
and
if you have
money
enough
in the
equity,
bank.
right. And if you had assets and you had enough equity, maybe not even that. So
loans were going just crazy. So values were increasing. There were a lot of not serious buyers. There were buyers who just had a credit score, took advantage of the of the market
availability of credit,
right. And then it all came to a crash.
Yes, it did.
I came to a crash too when the market crashed.
I think we all rode that wave, and it was like almost like the Roaring '20s all over again.
Yeah.
When the stock market crashed, I compare it to that because it was very similar.
It was really because everyone that I knew, all of my friends and all the associates and people I was associating with for those years were all in the industry. We all felt it. It was people were getting cars repossessed, losing houses.
Fire sales were going on.
It was really traumatic. It was a traumatic event, and I was so young. I wasn't prepared. I had no idea.
You had no life experience to fall back on. Like when you're in your 50s, you probably have had some highs and lows.
Yeah.
And so
I'd only had highs.
Right. And you were young, so you had no reason to think that it wasn't always going to be this way.
Correct. And I don't know, maybe no one told me, or maybe they did and I just didn't want to listen.
You would say, no, that's you, loser. Not me. That's not going to happen to me. Right? Because that's when you're young, you don't really think a lot can touch you.
Yeah.
Especially when you are on a quote unquote winning streak. Right? So
She's not young anymore and she calls me a loser all the time.
I've never one time.
She looks. She's young.
Said
okay,
loser.
According to me, she's young. So because I am older than she is, and she still looks like she's 22.
She does. So I have a question. So you said that back then, part of the reason that caused the boom was that people were getting loans that probably should not have. You said like a 620, 640 FICO and higher. What is that in contrast now? What do you have to have to get a loan these days?
So you have to have proof. So in layman's terms, and Carrie's the expert on the loans because I switched over and I went to the real estate sales side of it. And Carrie's still in finance. But in layman's terms, you have to be legitimately qualified, meaning you have to have a job that you've had for like 2 years, and you have to be able on paper to make the payment. Where back in in the early 2000s, you didn't have to qualify on paper. So it would be something like this. You come in, so Jim, you come to me and you say, I want to buy this house. And you say, okay, it's, $400,000 and I want to buy it. Right. And I work at,
I'm a truck driver and I make $20,000 a month.
Yeah. That's what we would put down on paper.
Right.
Whether I had a job or not.
Whether you did or not.
Okay. So nothing was verified.
We didn't verify anything. It was called stated, which translation should be fraudulent.
I wish I could get stated loans now for all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's what happened. That's how we got in the mess.
Just like with the whole subprime, which is now a bad word. If you were a self-employed buyer, let's say, and you were trying to do a quote B paper loan, the way it was intended was to say, I don't show a lot of money on my tax returns because I'm self-employed and I write off
like
the world.
Me, because I'm a ring announcer.
Correct.
I have the studio. I don't show much of anything, but
I do have bank statements to show that I do bring in income, and I also have a good like 10% down or 15% down, so I'm going to have some skin in the game, and I'm not going to be as easily ready to let the property go.
Right.
If something comes up and I lose my job, I'm going to want to stick with it because you may have put 80 grand into it. So you're not going to walk away. Now that turned into
That's how it turned
100% financing, not verifying
No
assets.
down payments.
Right, because you don't have any skin in the game. You're not really able to afford a house. For the first time, everybody could afford housing because, and this started, with the government, and it's not just one party over another. It's everybody that was part of it.
It's just a culmination.
They wanted everybody to be able to own a home, and it's really not a right. It's a privilege, and you have to be able to earn the right.
Yes.
So with everybody trying to get in on home ownership, then the banks as well as the mortgage companies and then the loan officers loosened up the guidelines, and then it built a momentum where one guy went a step further, and then to stay competitive in the market, then another guy came up with another crazy loan program, and then everybody kind of followed each other right over the cliff as far as lenders.
And what happened is the bank, so I was on the loan side of it and Carrie was on the wholesale side of it. So what that means is, a client comes into my office and says, hey, I want to get this loan. I would shop out the different banks. So Carrie was one of the banks that I would
actually fund her loan.
Yeah.
Lend the money.
So what would
she was like the middleman,
from
so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. From our perspective, the buyer, the borrower's coming in saying, hey, I want to borrow this money and I'm going to put this money down and I'm going to pay for it and I'm going to make the payment. And who am I to say, no, you're not. I don't believe that you are. Mm-hmm. And then we have the banks saying, yeah, we'll loan him the money.
Right.
So there wasn't a lot of, I swear to God, I didn't think anything was wrong when I was doing these loans because it's the bank's money.
Exactly.
And they're saying,
they're saying,
hey, structure the loan this way. Put this on there for them to qualify. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, well, bank.
Was it predatory? Do you think they thought that for sure they could foreclose and resell these homes?
No, they didn't.
No,
they were just, it was something that happened over a few years. It was a progression.
It just got wider and wider.
It got worse over time.
Okay.
And then once it's kind of like when the money goes away, then that's when everything starts happening because people start scrambling.
Gotcha.
Right. Everything was on the up and up when everything was good. Banks had no problem lending the money.
Right. Wall Street, everybody got rich too.
Yeah.
When the money's rolling in and everybody's making money, no one's going to question it because that was our livelihood and everybody was doing well. Nobody wants a naysayer basically saying, okay, this is all going to be a house of cards and it's all going to come crashing down. That there are cycles in the market and real estate values always go up and come down. And in this particular case, they just kept going up. Okay. So you knew they had to come down, but nobody thought that it was going to be almost like a global meltdown. Our economy was going to melt down.
We got hit very, very hard. I mean, when it finally all came to a head.
And it was very quick.
Did you realize? Happened so fast.
It was like overnight.
It seemed overnight that banks
all
started
the lenders
closing.
Went out of business.
Mm-hmm. Lenders are going out of business. Banks are closing. Mm-hmm. Stockton, I was doing loans in Stockton at the time. Stockton was blacklisted. So we had, I was approved with, as a broker, there were like 25, 30 banks that I was approved with. I used about five to 10 banks on a regular basis. All of those banks were gone.
Right. Within a few months. Remember there was a mortgageimplode.com or something, that was that website. And remember back in those days, it wasn't, can you, as an account executive, it wasn't a matter of, okay, can we do this deal? It was just a matter of, am I going to win the deal from Lisa? Mm-hmm. You were my customer, and I wanted to win the deal because I had, 30 people following me the minute I left your office, basically still trying to steal that same loan, so to speak, and win that deal. And then after the crash, I mean, you could be perfect on paper, and you could show all the money in the world, and nobody could get any money loaned to them.
There was no money.
There was no money to be the banks had the bailout money, but they kept it, and they just kept it in their reserves.
Yeah.
And then they just let Main Street fall.
And people went to jail over this, though, right?
Yeah.
I think more should have, honestly. I mean, when you, and it's,
I know
and
someone
the
who,
politicians,
a friend of mine who
I
went
know that there are
to jail.
people still, they were people that were prosecuted, and there were people
There
that were
were
publicly
no doubt
shamed.
No doubt
The crooks.
There were people that were not doing good loans
Right.
at that time, just like there's people doing bad real estate right now.
Right.
I mean,
In any
there's,
business.
it's going to happen in any business, but it seems like it was highlighted more and persecuted a lot harder. It should be,
Right.
because
Well,
people learn their lessons. Now it's like we're on the up and up. I mean,
Right.
for the most part, it's
Right.
like
The movie The Big Short, have you seen that?
Yes.
No. Okay, so they make loan officers look very, very bad, and it's not, to an extent, it's an accurate portrayal, but at the same time, it wasn't everybody that was in
Right.
the business. They were just trying to make a point, but for the most part, that was mostly true. I mean,
Okay.
because I lived it and I remember it, and I watched that movie very carefully, and it was a very interesting movie. And I
Well, that was based on a true story anyway, right?
Right.
Even the characters.
Yes, the
yeah.
characters were, because they bet against the market,
Right.
and that's how they all got rich, because there was one mathematician, like a genius guy, that basically saw it coming, and nobody believed him because, again, nobody wanted to hear it.
Right.
Wall Street, the politicians, we were all, and then the politicians did not want to hear it because they looked good with a booming economy, right?
Gotcha.
They wanted to make sure, okay, well, the housing market is strong, and so as long as the housing market is strong, it's going to make everything else strong. And then, Wall Street was making a lot of money, and so that definitely does help when everyone's making money.
Right.
Yeah.
It's when people are not making money, that's when you start to look at and say, okay, what just happened here?
Yeah. Everyone starts when the money
Right.
goes away, everyone starts pointing fingers too.
Well-
the first ones to get, killed off were the mortgage brokers. They
Right.
all got killed off and then
And
later-
blamed for everything.
Blamed. Oh yeah, it
Well,
was
right, the sleazy loan officer or the greedy bank or it was never
The consumer.
the politicians.
Yeah, the politicians and
it
the
was-
consumers didn't get
right,
blamed
and
for
the
it.
consumers who did take advantage and who were part of it also did not. They were the victims, quote unquote victims.
I remember I did a refinance for a couple and we paid off, and I'm not lying, this is the highest amount that I've ever seen. We paid off $100,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
I mean, I had on the 1003, it was like pages and pages and pages of
Unbelievable.
liabilities. They had just so much debt, which is credit card debt, which
Right.
means I'm buying something that I cannot pay for.
Right.
And they used the equity in the house to pay off all of the debt. So we consolidated everything, put in the mortgage payment, and then they lost their house and
Right.
were upset about it, blaming the banks. It's so in
Right,
those
they played victim.
in scenarios like that. Some people, I believe that some people absolutely just didn't have the financial knowledge, and
Right.
they did lose their house.
And they did lose everything, and those people aren't ones that you want to say, hey, Mr. and Mr. Borrower, that was something that you should have seen coming. No, we're not saying that. We're saying the people that used the equity in their home, like
buy
an ATM
boats.
card,
Yes.
and refinanced 7 times during the boom, and then kept pulling cash out,
and then cried after that it was the bank's fault and blamed
right,
the bank.
right.
So
You have you have to own your part in it, just like you have to own your part in everything. And it wasn't like, we walked away without, we all lost our jobs. So, nobody came away unscathed
Yeah.
after the whole meltdown happened. So, and like you said, you were young. You just were kind of like following instructions, so to speak, where this loan was available. So you thought, why would we not do it?
yeah,
Because they're allowing it.
I never one time ever thought that. I just really and almost naively or blindly thought that it's okay because everybody's
doing
The
it.
bank, if
allowing
Washington
it.
Mutual is coming in the office and saying, "Here, I
Right.
will loan them this money,
Right, structure it this way.
structure it this way," I didn't think
You
any
thought,
different.
well, because in our lifetime, we didn't see anything like this happening before.
No.
So you felt like, okay, well, they know what they're doing. And
This is the way it goes. I didn't know any different.
Okay, and here's the other part of that. If you didn't, Joe Schmo down the block is going to do the loan.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Yes.
so you didn't have to really put a whole lot of thought into it because you were structuring it the way the bank told you to structure it.
It's so weird. I remember this conversation. One of my loan officers, she came in and she had lost a deal, and she said, I'm looking for a house for these doing a loan for this couple that I know. And I ran their credit and have all their income information, income documentation, and their debt to income ratio, meaning their affordability, they're at like 65%. So basically,
Wow.
for the listeners out there, they don't qualify on
Right.
paper, because that means that more than half of their money every month is going to the mortgage payment. So that leaves you
their gross income.
Yeah, gross income. So that means only 30% left for bills, other
Right,
bills,
just living,
and
just to live. That includes groceries,
just
that includes gas,
PG&E,
right?
gas, food,
Spending money.
whatever. So she told them, you don't qualify for it. And they said, well, we want to do a stated loan. And she wouldn't do it. And I remember my loan officer said, they can't afford it. I'm afraid they're going to lose their house. And I remember thinking, and I remember specifically thinking this, like, how dumb. Like, why don't you just do the loan? I remember
Right.
thinking that. And looking back.
Right, she was right.
She was right. She was correct for doing that.
For being concerned that they're most likely not going to be able to afford this house long term, because you have to think long term. You also have to think extra expenses that come with being a homeowner. So nobody was, though. Nobody was. And like I said, every time you thought that you had seen the most creative loan product out there, somebody else would come along with something even more
better,
creative.
right?
Right. And so everybody, like I said, all the lenders just followed each other right over the cliff. And the politicians were the first to come out and blame the loan officers and the banks. And they're the ones, it started with them. They loosened, took a regulated industry and they did the whole deregulation, which opened up the door for it.
Well, the good news is now, like, fast forward almost 10 years. It's almost been 10 years since everything kind of took a crash. And fast forward, I know, stuff is looking really good. I mean, the market is looking really good. Nice, healthy market too. And we have qualified buyers.
Right. That's why
we
we're
have
stronger
equity now.
and better than we were then.
Yes. What I've been seeing on the real estate side is move up buyers.
Right.
A lot of move up buyers, meaning they're selling a house.
Right.
So they're
because
selling,
they have equity now.
using that equity. And a lot of them are people who kind of hung on.
They weathered the storm, or they're people that purchased at the right time, right? They purchased post 2011. The market's been going up. So if you purchased in 2011, congratulations, because you purchased at the bottom of the market.
Yep.
And you probably have a lot of equity to be
Yes.
able to put down quite a bit on your quote unquote dream house or your next home. And that's in the win column. That's how you know you did it right.
Did a good job.
Right.
Yeah. If you bought low,
You want to, right. You buy low, sell high. That's
buy
what we
low,
all want to
sell
do.
high. Yep. So the regulations also, it might seem sometimes, and I know on the real estate side of it, they're like, my loan officer, they're asking for everything. They want a blood sample. I mean,
Right.
they want everything.
And we do.
But it is for everyone's benefit.
Right.
For the benefit of everybody, to protect the economy,
it's a consequence,
home ownership.
It's a consequence of what happened during the meltdown. That's one of the consequences of making sure this doesn't happen again. Is you want to make sure, okay, we've got everything verified. That's all we're trying to do, is verify. If you say you make $50,000 a year, we want you to show it with pay stubs and W-2s.
Yeah,
If you say
which
you-
isn't asking too much.
No, if you should be able to provide it. So it is a lot of paperwork, and it does seem like it's never ending.
Yeah.
because things are asked throughout the transaction. But like you said, it's for a good reason.
But we set expectations too up front. So if you let the borrower know, or like I'll let the homeowner know, hey, it's quite a process to get the loan. They're going to ask for a lot of documents, but just bear with us.
Right.
And just setting expectations that it is a process.
Right. If you do set the right expectations up front, and you let them know, I can't get around it. The underwriters require this, and I can't get around it. I'm going to try to get the majority of everything up front. Then it makes it easier when you're asking. And in the beginning is the time to ask, because they're very excited to buy the house, and they're okay to give you the paperwork. It's when you keep asking for stuff in the 11th hour and it never seems to end. And by the time they're ready to close, they're pretty much done. They just want it done and over with.
Yeah, they just want their keys. Like,
Exactly.
Give me my
So
keys. Let me move
that's
in.
not the time to ask them for a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, odds and ends.
That should be, you might be asking for something minor that came up, but you should not be asking for tax returns at that point.
Yeah.
So
So, we were talking about this in the pre-show about what's considered a first-time home buyer, because many people who maybe lost a home or foreclosed, back in, 07, 8, and 9,
Right.
They technically were homeowners at some point.
Right. So they think I was a homeowner, so therefore that does not make me a quote unquote first time home buyer, which is not true.
Yep.
You just can't be a homeowner in the last 3 years.
3 years. So you guys hear that out there. It's 3 years. So if you owned a home and lost it back in the mortgage meltdown,
right,
you're considered a first time home buyer now.
Exactly. I had a family that I helped purchase about a year ago. They had owned 3 homes and had bankruptcy, foreclosure. They had pretty much just about everything that happened to you that can happen to you. And they would have never, not only did they not think that they were first-time home buyers, they didn't think they could get a loan. And they both were not correct. They just thought that. And they were, you're embarrassed. Like I said, you were not on your winning streak during all that time and what was going on and it happened to all of us.
Yes.
I mean, we were all affected by
Everybody
the meltdown.
was hit.
Everybody that owned anything was affected, unless you didn't own anything and maybe you were, 17 years old, then you were affected. Even if you owned any kind of assets, you were affected by it. You had a third of your wealth wiped out.
Yeah.
So, and most families lost everything. And so they were one of the families, one of the many, especially in San Joaquin. And, we were able to put them and their 3 kids back into a house, and they were very happy and almost crying because they just didn't think that it was possible again. And what matters to them is what matters to everybody else. You want to have a home of your own. You want to be in a decent school district. You want your kids to be able to play outside and you want to have a dog without somebody telling you not to. And there's that pride in being a homeowner
it's the
versus
American
a
dream.
renter.
Yeah, the
So
American dream.
It's also an investment vehicle. It's not just a place to live, but I mean, they have equity now.
Yeah.
Had they not purchased, they'd still be renting, paying off somebody else's mortgage. And I always tell people this, the first time home buyers, take your rent and times it by, 36 if you've been there for 3 years. Take your rent and times it by 24 if you've been there for 2. It adds up because most of the time rents are going to be in the 11 or 1200 range.
And you're paying rent anyways. You
Right.
have to pay to live. That's one of the expenses you can't
Exactly.
really get around in
And-
life. You just have to pay to live somewhere.
You want to live in a decent neighborhood too. So, you're going to be paying upwards of over 1,000, I would imagine, anywhere in
and rents
California.
are increasing too. Still.
Exactly.
Rents are on the rise.
And they will continue to rise because the market prices are increasing. So they can raise your rent anytime they want because that's what the market rents are going for. So why not purchase if you can? And the loans are much better. Like I said, we're better and we're stronger because the loans are better. The quality of the buyers are better. We're not just giving loans to anybody that wants one.
Yeah.
And the loan officers have to be licensed.
Oh, that's right. The regulation of the loan officer.
It basically
I thought that was a bunch of even when I was doing loans, I had a real estate license. The company I worked for,
which was a tough license to get, was it
Yeah.
not? I mean, I took that license too, and it was not an easy license to obtain.
Yeah, I had my license. That's all you needed was a real estate license to do loans, which I thought was odd back then.
Right.
But there was another license. It wasn't even licensing. If an owner of one of the loan offices was under, I think, Department of Corporations,
Right.
anyone could do loans there. And so there was no regulation. You
No,
couldn't look up someone's
anybody-
license. You couldn't threaten, I'm going to take your license.
Exactly.
It
There
didn't
was no
matter.
well, because anybody that wanted to make some money thought, "Oh, I'm going to get in on this business because you really don't have to do much, and then you can close a loan and make a lot of money." So they were getting into it for all the wrong reasons. They really weren't qualified, and so you had a lot of the bad apples. You had a lot of the bad loans because people really, they should never have been in the loan business. And I said that, I would see that a lot just being out in the field. They're making rookie mistakes after 3 years. And I would go to the broker. I mean, even though it really wasn't my business, I would say, look, Mary over here, Mary loan officer, is asking me questions that a rookie would ask. And this person has been doing it for 3 years. maybe you ought to, look into that.
Yeah, they're dealing with people's finances.
You're having all of their sensitive information. You're dealing with their livelihood if they're putting money down to purchase. You're dealing with complicated loan products. Even back then, you had to know a thing or two. I mean, you did it. You had to know how
it wasn't easy.
The basics worked, and these people couldn't do the basics. So it wasn't just alarming. It annoyed me. And I just thought, why are you doing this? Maybe you should work at a florist or a bakery. You would do so much better. But here I am. They were my customer, for crying out loud.
And you're telling them, you're like,
well,
look.
and I told on them. I did, because I was annoyed.
That's awesome.
And I just didn't, I was like, this is
Snitch.
wrong. Well, yeah. I was like, okay. And then the broker would look at me like, nobody
Jim
else
had to put his 2 cents in.
He did. So it just, when you see now the prices that are almost where they were back in 2006, it is exciting. It's a great time because we are back and things are much better, and the outlook is hopeful.
It is. We can kind of exhale now. I feel
and you're excited.
Yeah, I feel. Of course, over the past couple years, I've been
grind.
saying this. I'm like, we're back to normal. We're back to normal. But it feels very hopeful.
Right. You're excited about the future.
Excited about it because it feels a lot safer.
It does.
A lot safer.
Because of what we've been doing the last 7 years to make it safer. The us coming back into the business, kind of playing musical chairs. Now I'm the loan officer and you're the real estate agent. And I am very excited to be in this business. I'm very glad that I got back in when I did.
Yeah.
So
that was great.
I know. I actually remember you were the one I Googled.
I know.
I said, okay, I only want to look up a few people. I don't want to look up everybody.
I saw your number pop up.
It was the same number.
209-639-3330. Is this Carrie Nikolsky? Carrie, I haven't talked to you in a year. Where did everyone go?
Is that your cell phone number?
Yes.
Just checking.
Yeah.
That's good. Call me for loans.
Yeah.
Gary Nikolsky, Stearns Home Loans.
639-3330.
Yeah, loans. That's what I wanted. Loans.
That's yeah. So it was nice to see that you were back in, because at the time I didn't know what you were doing. I was just kind of hoping that you were.
I had taken, the only time I got out of real estate is I took a 6-month hiatus. I was a flight attendant.
I love that story.
For 6 months.
And so that lasted 6 months.
It was 6 months.
And you said that it sounded good.
It was good. Actually the story is, so market crashed.
Right.
This is like end of 2007.
Right.
Market crash. I owned a business, and everyone went back to work at the grocery store. I'm not lying. There was a lady that worked for me, and she was hostessing at Chili's. I mean, people just
they went back to like a normal job, like overnight.
Overnight. And so I had tons of overhead and no money coming in. Stockton was blacklisted. I'm drinking like a fish because I don't know what else to do. So alcoholism kicks it up.
I wish I'd thought of
into
that.
Full gear.
Yes. I didn't do that.
Into
I don't
full
know.
gear.
I had plenty
Wow.
of reasons to drink.
Did you say you wish you'd thought of that?
Well, I didn't
Carrie
even
doesn't
think
drink.
about it.
Oh my gosh.
That's why you're not an alcoholic.
But in a way I am. I've told you about
A
this.
mental without
I have all
the
the
drink
other
isms.
symptoms. I have all the other quirks. I have all the
Listen.
other personality,
Listen, I have to interrupt.
glitches.
You have an alcoholic who's 9 years sober that said, and then I got into alcoholism, and then you said, I wish I'd thought of that. I mean, there's really not much left to say.
Okay,
That's
Jim,
it. The show's
Jim.
over. We're done.
Things were very bad.
Things were bad.
Wish I'd thought of that.
Being an alcoholic would not have been the worst thing on my list
man.
at that time.
Being
it would
a
have been
drinker,
like maybe the top 10.
Being a drinker would have been okay.
Would have
If
been the
you
way
were
I
a
dealt with my
drinker,
problems.
It would have. The route I took, you don't
Yeah.
want to take my route. Trust
Well,
me.
exactly. Well, because I didn't. Right. And the route anybody took, because at that time, I think if you had an addiction you definitely got
Indulged.
lost in it, right?
Yes.
Because that's what you just
It
took
was
your
my-
problems and it magnified them.
Yeah.
I think all women at some point want to be drunk flight attendants. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, that sounds like a fun job. I
No,
said,
you want all women to be drunk flight
Maybe that's what it
attendants.
is.
Let's
deflecting.
be real here. I think you want everyone to be. No, but yeah, so then I was actually sitting in rehab, and I thought, I think I want to be a flight attendant. And then I did.
right, and that's how you
So I did
always basically when you
operate.
do your business plan. That's how you do your business plan. I think I want to be, the president, and then Lisa, I believe that you could be the president, or I want to be, whatever. That's just how you do it. You get, the thought comes into your head, and then you figure out a way to make it happen, and then you
I'd
go.
thought of that.
Jim's still stuck on.
Jim, you had to be there at the time.
I was right here when you said it.
I mean, I'm talking back.
talking about back
10
then.
years ago. And we lost touch for a while.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I never stopped thinking about, okay, every once in a while, I wonder how you're doing. You're just but you're trying to survive yourself.
Yeah, we were like in the trenches. I mean,
It's survival. You're worried about the basics. Roof over my head, a food on the table, right, Lisa?
Yeah, I was selling Gucci purses on eBay and Craigslist. I'm not lying.
Well-
Jim's looking at me like I'm crazy, but it
Okay.
was.
No, I just
I was thinking about
got-
Mary Kay. Okay, and I laugh. That I thought that was rock bottom. Because
Can I tell you
was like,
something about Mary Kay?
What's a multi-level
No,
marketing?
I just wish I would have thought of that.
About you doing.
Well, I mean, you're doing things that you never would have imagined
Outside
yourself
of character. Yeah,
doing.
I thought, hey,
I'm doing that right now.
I thought, hey, I always wanted to be a flight attendant. I'm going to be a flight attendant. And so I
there you
did.
went.
And then I hated it.
Who'd you work for?
Why did you hate
SkyWest
it?
Airlines.
I want to know why you hated it.
Okay, I hated it because I was bored out
You got
of
hit on all the
my
time.
mind.
Well, she gets hit on anywhere she goes, so that's beside the point.
I don't
right?
see it.
I would have numbers slipped to me when they were
Oh, I
leaving.
love it.
Yeah. I was like,
How many of them did you
ew.
call?
None.
Don't lie. Come on.
0.
You were an
Was there
alcoholic.
anybody that
You're like,
was-
let me call this guy. Is this Eric? Eric, were you on my flight earlier? I'm
like-
on my way over. Do you have a
I'm
fifth
like,
of vodka?
Do you have a bottle of vodka with you? I'm like, I don't remember whose number was this.
Send me a picture.
So that's why, hence the 6 months, right? It didn't last long
I didn't
because you
like
just
it.
didn't. You need to be
I didn't like it.
I didn't
challenged.
like
No,
it.
because I know they say that they're supposed to be all about safety, and I know that they are. I don't want to diminish anybody that's a flight attendant. It looks like a very tough job. You got to deal with the public. That's hard to do.
I was like, do whatever you guys want.
Right.
I'm like, whatever.
Flotation device. Good luck.
I
Right.
almost got kicked out of being a flight attendant. Okay, so
Did you get talked to
She
about
gave away
your,
too
what,
many
your,
peanuts.
It was the last.
Was it
No,
your
no, no.
attitude, or
so
what was it?
It was
Your
my
tone?
attitude. So
Your
the very first, our training. Okay, so I'm on the last leg of the flight, and someone was on their cell phone, and so
Yeah.
I'm doing my cabin sweep.
Yeah.
I come back through and I kind of motion the guy like, oh, put your cell phone down, just
Right.
whatever. He knows, you know what to do if you're on a plane,
Exactly.
right? So my instructor or my teacher, the other flight attendant who was
The
not
jerk.
Who is
Nazi
basically your
flight
boss,
attendant,
right.
She tells me you need to stand in front of that man and wait until he's off the phone.
Oh, God.
What?
And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. That's just rude. I'm not a control freak. I don't need to be in command of the cabin of the flight attendant. Why are
and
you
what
giving me
if
a dirty look?
Also,
Why is
okay,
Jim looking at
why,
me?
Did you just say you're not a control freak?
I'm not
No.
a control freak.
I believe her, and I'll tell you, I've been related to. Let's just say I'm related to control freaks, and you're really not.
No, I don't care if someone's on the phone. I'm just like,
Not even she runs
Whatever.
her own business. She's, you know what I'm saying? When you running your own business, and people confuse somebody that is just keeping track of everything because it's your show that
I
you're
like
running.
structure
Exactly.
and control.
Exactly.
However,
But
I'm not a control.
you're not going to
freak.
control your will on other people.
No, I don't care if someone's on the phone.
Right.
Honestly, it didn't matter to me. So then I almost didn't pass. So I had to go with a different instructor and do one more leg of in-flight for me to pass. Because I wouldn't tell people.
Did your ears get screwed up and down, up and down, up and down? I dated a flight attendant once, and she told me that she had to get tubes in her ears eventually.
Oh my gosh. What about, did you as far as like the schedule, I mean, is it hard to always be in a hotel and
Hotels
I
rule.
mean,
It was fun.
the
That
traveling
part was fine.
part-
The traveling's fine. I travel anyways all the time.
Okay.
I'm always
You're
so.
okay. Well, I have a 13-year-old daughter, so we don't.
Yeah.
We do travel, but we can't travel all the time.
I'm always.
You're
I
always on
think
the go.
I did like
so that part was
six
good.
trips last year in 2016.
right.
I did like 6 like.
And you like
Yeah,
traveling.
I like the travel. So it was fine for me, but it was really boring. I like projects. I like
You need your mind
starting
stimulated.
a project and seeing it come to fruition and the end result and an ending and a result and move on to the
Right.
next. And it wasn't stimulating. It wasn't
Is the same old thing. And I see what you're saying. It wouldn't have mattered. I mean, of course, the at that time we were all trying to survive. So I don't want to say the pay wouldn't have mattered. That's not necessarily the case. But what you're saying is after a while, it would have been like dying a death every day for
Yes.
you
Oh, yeah.
because you.
But I had to try it. That's
Exactly.
me. I do stuff.
Well, and I like that you tried
all
it
the time.
because now you know, and you never have to wonder. Oh, I should have been a flight attendant.
Yeah, I
That
try
was
stuff
my
all the
dream.
time. Like someone
Right.
was telling me, one of our mutual friends was telling me, he's like, why do you always do stuff and not follow through? And I'm like, wait a minute.
you do follow through.
Well, I actually do follow through, and then I don't like it. Guess what?
Right.
I will. What I
He
do.
said that to you?
Yeah.
Does that make him the pot or you the kettle?
and
Oh
I
my
said, right,
gosh.
exactly.
I mean, I can't even believe he had the balls to
Is
say that to
that-
you.
He doesn't have them, but
Wow.
yeah. And I thought, no.
Why was he bothered by it? Like, what business is it of his?
See, I like that question right there. Ask that again.
Why was he bothered by it?
We were having it actually was relevant to the what we were talking about, the conversation. So it came up in conversation. So he wasn't completely out of line. I think he was just off base with maybe he
His
didn't understand
assessment.
what I guess to some people it might seem that way.
Like you
It
try
might
something
seem
and then you stop it and
like
then
I
you
quit. And it's
Right.
actually not me quitting. I try a lot of things and I probably try more than the average person, and then if I don't like it, then
do.
I just don't do it.
Well, here's the thing
anymore.
that you do.
I need you to
though.
pay a year in advance. Just in case you quit.
Shut up, Jim.
Here's the thing.
I always pay you in
though.
advance. Don't I?
Yes, but we can't talk about that on the air.
Okay.
Oh, you meant money.
Oh,
He went
he's
there.
a comedian,
He
isn't
went
he?
there.
He's got to be. Yeah, we gotta have those jokes, right?
Yeah.
To keep it.
Have to
keep
have
it
the
fun.
inappropriate
Right.
jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keep it interesting.
I'm always appropriate.
But where he missed the mark is that you do try it, but you get out of it when you don't like it.
Yeah.
And you don't. I think the worst thing what I've learned, because I've done it both ways, where okay, I'll stick with it, and even though I know it's wrong, I had that mindset of, oh, I got to make it work. This is when I was in my 20s,
Right.
and I would stay at the wrong place for like
Jim does that.
5 years. You know, I'd be at the wrong job. Are we talking about jobs?
Now who's being inappropriate?
This is.
I agree with
you
what
know
you're
what,
saying.
Though? Okay, but Jim,
The minute
this
that
does
you-
translate over to relationships
Oh, here we
too.
go.
Yes.
So
Yes,
see, I know what she's talking about. So but,
Show's over.
But I don't.
We're gonna edit
I don't
this
know
out.
anything about your relationship.
Edit
I
this
don't even know. Honestly, I was speaking from my own life experience where I stay in one place too long. And I get into I don't anymore. I got to make it work. Post 2007, when we all had to really just no, I did not drink, but again, it would have been nice to maybe tie a few on once in a while. That's what I meant by I should have thought of that, because I might have got,
Oh, I
it
got-
might have
I
been
got
a
what
little
you
bit
meant.
easier on me, because there was some incredibly
See, I try it, like,
scary,
exactly like that.
lonely moments.
You might not want to try it because when I try it, I go all the way.
Well, that's the
I'm
way
like,
you
oh,
do it,
drinking
though.
all the
Right,
way.
that's
How
the way
far
you-
can I do it? Whoops, I went
And-
a little too far. I'm gonna pull back. But
Well, but you have to take inventory of your life, and you have to say, okay, this didn't work for me. This didn't serve me. I don't have to make things work. And if something isn't working, the smartest thing you can do is get out of it quickly.
yeah,
And so, but you definitely, if you're able to try it and you can mark it off your list of, I've always wanted to do whatever.
There's nothing I've always wanted to do.
There's nothing that you can
And
say
I
that,
didn't.
right. And
do
that's
it.
what I admire.
Except
along
swimming with
with-
sharks. I haven't done that yet.
Oh gosh,
I've
please.
tried.
I don't even know if I want you to do that.
We tried our last vacations. No, when we went to the Cayman Islands, so it's the British West Indies. And me and my boyfriend were like, "Are there sharks around here?" We're asking her. They're like, "Oh no, no sharks." We're like, like, "Don't worry." We're like, "No, we're not worrying. We want to swim with them." And everything. We asked all the different, like, "Are there sharks around here?" "Don't worry. Don't." We're like, "No,
Yeah,
we're
they
not.
didn't-
We
they
are
thought-
not
yeah,
worried
because
we
that-
want to
right.
go find them."
Because most tourists, like me, would be like, I need to be assured, I need a 100% guarantee there aren't. And, everybody's going to tell
we
me.
left disappointed.
People are going to take my money and tell me whatever I want to hear. But yeah, nobody expects you to be disappointed because there's no sharks, right? Except
me.
for, right.
Except me and Joe. That's
You
it.
and thank God you guys are on the same page, because if my husband wanted sharks and I didn't, I would think you're crazy, and he would say, no, you're not adventurous. So I'm excited though. It is a good time to be
It is.
back.
It is.
In
We're back.
We are, and I
Back
what I
and
like
better than
is
ever.
that when you spend the time and you've put in the years, you put in the work, building a brand, building your business, doing things the right way, coming by it honestly, and knowing what happened then and where everything went wrong, and yes, you look back and you say, okay, we can see now what happened, and we wonder why we didn't see it then, but there were a lot of factors why we didn't all see it then. But now you can see, okay, it's a great time to be in this business, and it's a great time to be a homeowner. So if you can be a homeowner, I would recommend that you do so, because again, it's a great investment vehicle.
Absolutely.
The stock market scares me because, talk about losing a third of your wealth in one day.
Yep.
Where not only are you able to live in it, you can look at the equity that you can gain. 100,000 there's a lady that purchased in 2011, and it wasn't like she was rich. I think she purchased her home for 100,000, and she's in Stockton. And a year ago, we refinanced, and her home had gained 100,000 in equity. Where else is she going to get a rate of return on her investment like that?
Exactly. Yeah. And she has to live somewhere
100,000.
anyways.
And her rent was nothing. A mortgage, I should say. Mortgage
Yeah.
payment was less than most people pay in rent.
Yeah. That's great.
That's usually how it is, right? And I've never owned a home. I'm
Okay.
sad to say, but usually mortgages are a little bit less than rent, right? Normally you're paying rent, it's more than a mortgage.
No, actually, in her case, it was less because her home that she purchasing in 2011 was at the
Right.
bottom of the market, and it wasn't like she was purchasing
A big giant home.
Exactly,
Yeah.
she was purchasing a very modest home in Stockton, something that she could afford. She just happened to purchase at the right time, and her home is now worth double what she paid.
Nice.
But most of the time when you are renting, and this was myself included, you're going to be paying a little bit more to be a homeowner. So for example, if you're renting for $1,100-$1,200, plan on paying $1,500-$1,600. The good news is, Jim, since you're not a homeowner,
Is you own it at the
now's
end.
the time to purchase, because the rates are still historically very low, and the market is still increasing.
I just can't find the right person to sell me a house.
It's like you can't find. I thought we were talking about a relationship for a second.
I've got to find the right person, someone that's good looking, that's sweet, funny, knows what they're doing, been in the business a long time, and I just can't. I've
And
looked everywhere.
You can't find that
He's looked
person.
at, he has binoculars out right now.
Yeah,
He's like, I've
he's
looked.
just-
I tried to get Imran
scoured.
Palati to sell me a house, but he's not selling anymore. So I guess I'm just screwed.
You're just.
Yeah,
I'd
you
rather
have
be
to-
homeless than buy a house from
just-
Lisa Hill.
You have to give up. You just have to give up on that dream, Jim.
Actually, Jim already asked me about buying a house, and we've already talked about it. So
Oh,
he's
good.
lying right now.
Good. Well, I
saying
hope
he
so.
can't find anyone.
I would recommend
See that bus?
anybody. I would, though. I honestly, if you can, I always tell people, if you can, why not do it?
do it. And now is the time.
Now's the time,
Best
because-
time to buy a house
Right.
is right now.
Because you're gonna, like I said, the loans are definitely better. They're built so that we look at making sure that you can afford them.
How long does this trend last? How? I mean, because I know the trend of right now, it's a really good time to buy a house. It's a buyer's market. Now's the time to buy.
Well, it's
How,
a-
doesn't it go in waves?
It's a seller's market,
It's a
but
seller's
it's a good
market.
time to buy. So you're going to have a lot of buyers in
Okay.
a seller's market because it's a supply demand thing.
Gotcha.
So you've got a lot of demand and then you've got a short supply. So you've got the best of both worlds in a sense because the sellers are able to sell at top dollar,
Yes.
right? Because they have all these buyers. And then it's a buyer's, it's time to buy because you see all the buyers out there, meaning the rates are low and the
So to get people that need to go out and buy a house, say they're thinking
Right.
about it. But
Okay.
how long do you think they have? Is this sustainable? How long does this sustain itself to where, hey, now's the time to buy? When will you stop saying that, do you think?
Well,
Normally,
we really-
how's the trend?
We really don't know. It's been a good time to buy over the last couple of years, in
Okay.
all honesty.
Right.
It's been a
well,
good...
and people will buy homes even if it's a 14% interest rate. The reason we're saying it's a good time
Is
because
because
the
rates are low.
still low.
That's what I mean. So how long
So-
does that last usually?
Rates have been low
right?
for a
I
long
mean, everybody's
time.
been thinking like if you would have talked to the quote unquote smartest guy in the room, they would have said rates were going to increase 2 years ago.
I don't talk to myself.
Right. So there you go. so we don't want to predict, okay, the rates are going to go up at a certain time.
Right, I
we
getcha.
just know that eventually, because nothing stays the same,
Right.
and because as the market gets better and jobs come back and people get excited about the economy again, you can bet they're going to go up. They've held them artificially low, the feds, to spur the market and the
Yes.
housing market in particular. And they want to make sure, okay, they got to keep everything in balance. So as things start to get better, they are going to increase the rates. But the theory is, you're going to have better jobs, you're going to have better paying jobs, they're going to have more people that are working. So if they increase the rates, it's not like it's going to be a bad time to buy.
Right.
But at the same time, because it's projected you're going to be able to afford it, but why not get the rate at 4% versus 5% in a year? Because you're
Exactly.
paying more
You can
for
buy
the same
more
house.
house.
Exactly.
Agreed.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for Jim for popping in on the show.
Yes,
and
that was
your
fun.
inappropriate jokes. Thank you. And Carrie, thank you so much for giving all your insight. And guys,
Happy
tune
to be here.
in. Tune in next week. Thanks.
Thanks for stopping by the Lisa Hill Show. For more information, please visit lisahillteam.com. Catch us on the next episode when Lisa brings you more real estate for the real world.